Hello everyone, how's it going? My name is Dan the Tutor. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to factor the difference of two squares. This is a very common topic to know in algebra, and here's what it is. So basically we start off with a squared minus b squared, where a and b can be numbers, they can be variables like x, or it can be a combination like 4x squared, for instance. And all you got to do if you want to factor this, it's going to be a plus b times a minus b, making it one of the most famous and easy things to factor in all of algebra. So as a couple of quick examples, if I have 9 minus 4, what I'm saying is that a squared is 9 and b squared is 4, and you need to know the square roots of these numbers. For instance, square root of 9 is 3, square root of 4 is 2, and so that means when I factor it, it's going to be 3 plus 2 times 3 minus 2. And that's how it factors. By the way, the order doesn't matter. For instance, it could have been 3 minus 2 first and then 3 plus 2. That doesn't matter. And the other thing you should know is that if I have something like x squared minus 16, in this case a squared is x squared and b squared is 16. We know the square root of 16 is 4, so b is 4. But what's the square root of x squared? The answer is just x. So that means this answer would be x plus 4 times x minus 4. And now we're going to look at example after example until you start to get the hang of it. So here's the first one. 4x squared minus 100. Starting off with a good one. So first I would say that a squared is 4x squared and b squared is 100. Hopefully you know the square root of 100, that's just going to be 10. But for a, if I want to take the square root of 4x squared, that's just going to be the square root of 4, which is 2, times the square root of x squared, which is x. So this becomes 2x. I take the square root of each separately. And then when I put it together for my final answer, it's going to be 2x plus 10 times 2x minus 10, and that's the answer. Okay? So here is another one. Let's say I have x squared minus 8 this time. So I would say a squared is x squared and b squared is 8. We know the square root of x squared, that's just going to be x. But the square root of 8, we don't know that. Well, that's okay. Whenever you don't know a square root, you just break it up as much as you can. So for instance, square root of 8 can be broken up into root 4 and root 2, and root 4 is really 2, so this becomes 2 root 2. b equals 2 root 2. So putting it all together then, a plus b, x plus 2 root 2, times a minus b, x minus 2 root 2. And there's our answer for that one. Okay, now we're going to do a few more. For the next couple, I encourage you to try them on your own first. If you're stuck, then that's fine, just watch the video for the solution. But I encourage you to try them on your own first. So the next one I'm going to try and trick you, because instead of x, I have 49r squared minus s squared. So go ahead, give it a try. And here's what we're going to do. So first, a squared is the 49r squared, and b squared is the s squared. So when I take the square root of 49 is 7, square root of r squared is r, and then b is just going to be s. Meaning the difference of two squares is going to be 7r plus s times 7r minus s, and that's it. So in other words, it doesn't matter if the variables are r, s, or whatever, we still follow the exact same rules. Here's the next one. Let's say I have 25w squared minus 10y squared. So again, give this one a try. And here's the solution. First, I would say that a squared is 25w squared and b squared is 10y squared. So a is going to be the square root of 25w squared, giving me 5w. Then for b, it's kind of annoying because I don't know the square root of 10, but I can try and break it up. Root 10 breaks up into root 5 and root 2. But even that doesn't simplify any more than that. So in other words, root 10 is just root 10. Keep it like root 10. And then the y squared, I didn't forget about that. Square root of y squared is y. So in other words, b equals root 10 times y. And the difference of two squares will be 5w plus root 10y times 5w minus root 10y. And that's it. Okay, now just a couple more today. This next one's going to be very difficult, so I'm going to help you. It's x to the fourth minus 16. So again, a squared is x to the fourth, and b squared is 16. B is easy enough, it's just the square root of 16, so 4. A is going to be the square root of x to the fourth, and in case you don't know what that is, you just divide your exponent by 2. So this will become 4 divided by 2 is 2, it's x squared. And what I mean by that is, if this was the square root of x to the 10th, 10 divided by 2 is 5, so it'd be x to the 5th. Always divide your exponent by 2 when you see something like this. So I know a and I know b, so this will become x squared plus 4 times x squared minus 4. And before I circle this as the final answer, the cool thing about this one, or maybe the annoying thing, depending on how you look at it, is that this is another difference of two squares, where a squared is x squared and b squared is 4, so I can do it again. Just so you know, this left one is not a difference of two squares because it's plus in the middle. Because it's plus, there's nothing we can do about that, so we're not going to touch it. So back to the right one, a is x and b is 2, so the final answer is x squared plus 4 from before times x plus 2 times x minus 2. And you only have to do this again if you see a second difference of two squares you can do. So with that in mind, here's the last one for today. C to the 8th minus 64. And if you're feeling adventurous, you can give it a try. If not, here's the solution. So first, a squared is going to be c to the 8th, and b squared is 64. So then that means a equals c to the 4th, because I divided 8 by 2 to get to the 4th. And b is going to be the square root of 64, which is just 8. So now I have c to the 4th plus 8 times c to the 4th minus 8. And if we want, we can keep going, because now this is a difference of two squares. Or if you want, you can also just keep it here. I'm okay with that for this one. It really depends on what your teacher wants. But this one on the right can be broken down further, because a squared is c to the 4th, and b squared equals 8, which means a equals c squared then, and b equals root 8, which we said earlier, root 8 reduces to 2 root 2. So then I have first term, c to the 4th plus 8, next term, c squared plus 2 root 2, and then the last term, c squared minus 2 root 2. Now we're not going to go any further here, even though this is a difference of two squares. This one would become a double square root. It would literally be the square root of 2 root 2, and we would never do that in any problem. So in other words, keep this as your final answer. This is perfectly good. And that is going to do it for this video. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye.